Okay guys, welcome back. So once again, we're going to go ahead and we're going to create another portion of the puzzle for creating our calculator. So we're going to create a folder. We're going to call it part 3. And you can probably start to get the trend here. We're going to create a new document. The document is going to be called part3.cpp. You're probably starting to see a pattern here. We're going to open that and we're going to put that over here. Go ahead and close this. Control-Alt-T will open up our terminal again. And we'll open up our terminal again. We'll go ahead and put it over here. Now what we're going to do is, like I said before, we're going to cd desktop / part 3. Bam. Now we're in. We're in ls and we can see ls, and now we can see part3.cpp is here. Now we need to do the same thing that we did last time. We're going to include IO_stream. Now one thing about the stream here is you can picture the stream like bringing things from the console over here, or you can picture them as taking things from here and putting them in the console. So like our standard output, cout, or our console input, cin, are going to go ahead and take things and put them here, or take things from here and put them here in our program. Once again, so this time we don't need string, because the thing that string did was allow us to get data to get memory as characters, right? As a string. So like as a word or a sentence, that's a string. And we're not going to use that this time, because this time we're going to be building a simple addition tool. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're just going to using namespace standard semicolon. We're going to create main again. Now this main is, we'll learn about functions shortly, but main is a main function, okay? And it's just, so basically it means that it's a block of code here that the program starts at the top and it goes to the bottom. So the first line, just like you would read a book, the first line goes, then the second line goes, then the third, and so on. Now the first thing we're going to do once again is we're going to cout, and we're going to tell the user what this program does. So we're going to say this app adds 2 numbers that you enter. Please enter. So we'll leave that. Does 2 numbers that you enter. Now we're going to do an end line, and that's the end of that one, semicolon there. Now we're going to cout something else. We're going to go cout. Please enter number. Please enter the first number. And we will end line, semicolon. And we definitely should put spaces in here. If you're doing this on a more complex text editor or an IDE, integrated development environment, like Visual Studios, that works better for making sure that your space is all there. Here we have to do it by hand, which is okay. We want to make our code neat. So here is probably a good time to introduce the concept of comments. Now if we do double slashes, we can write comments. Now comments don't get displayed to the user. The comments are simply for a person reading the code. So later, if you write 1,000 lines of code and it's well commented, later when you come back and you need to adjust something in the code to make it do something different, this is an easy way to remember what's happening. So we can say this section tells the user about the app and asks them for the first number. Now a good rule of thumb is, if you're not commenting, when it's like putting a period at the end of your sentence. Every time you finish a thought in programming, you need to comment what the next part of your program is going to do. So now that we've asked the user for the first number, this part creates the first number variable and gets its value from the user. So now we're gonna, so a number variable, right, is an int. So we can think, probably you learned maybe in the 3rd grade about integers, right, different things. So we have whole numbers, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We have 0, right, so we can put that into our natural numbers, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then we have our integers, which is -1, -2, -3, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All of the negative numbers and the positive numbers that don't contain a fraction or a decimal are integers. So this int signifies that the variable we're about to create is an integer. And so this app adds 2 numbers that you enter. So we should change this to say 2 whole numbers that you enter. So we'll create an integer and we'll call it number 1. Okay? Then we're going to do like we did before, cin number 1. Then we need to ask the user. So the easiest way to do this is to copy this line here. We're going to Control C. We'll drop down here. Now that we've finished creating the first number and getting its value from the user, we'll comment again. This part creates the second number. The first thing it's going to do is asks the user for the second number. Then this part asks the user for the second number and then creates the second number and gets its value from the user. Now we don't want to go too long with these comments, so we'll come over here, drop down, and gets its value from the user. Okay, so now we'll ask the second one, so we'll Control V, this line that we copied up here. Please enter the second number. Okay, we'll jump down here. Then we'll do int number 2, cin number 2. Now here's something that we need to do. Okay, so we have the first number, it's stored in int number 1, and then we have the second number, it's stored in int number 2. Now we need to add these. Okay, so there's a couple ways we can do this. We can create an int number 3 and set it, and then say, I have not been placing my semicolons. So we need to remember to do that. Now, previous to this, I've been working in JavaScript. So we always need to make sure to put our semicolons in C++. So now that we have everything, let's check. Yep, everything has semicolons. Now we need to say number 3, which is this variable here. Number 3 equals number 1 plus number 2. Now this is an operator. This is the addition operator. It says, okay, what we're going to do is we're going to add this one to this one, and it adds them together and then outputs that to the left of itself. So number 3 then equals number 1 plus number 2. Now this is a very simple function, or a very simple bit of code here. It reads just like you normally would do math, right? Number 3 equals number 1 plus number 2. We just need to make sure that every time we do an assignment, which is what this equals is called the assignment operator, and what it's doing is assigning this value to number 3, and we need to make sure that the assignment happens on the left hand side of the page, on the left hand side of our script here, of our code. Then we need to finish up by saying cout, and we're going to say number 1, then we're going to output plus number, let's not forget our output operator here, number 2 equals, and then we got to do our output operator equals number 3. And we'll make sure to put spaces here so that everything looks neat, and a semicolon. And then, like before, let's go ahead and do G++ part 3.cpp. Okay, it worked this time. So all this code is correct. Now we're going to go ahead and we're going to do ls, and we can see the a.out is there. So we'll do again sudo ./a.out. We'll run it, and we'll enter our password. Please enter the first number. This app adds 2 whole numbers that you enter. Please enter the first number. So let's start with 10. That's an integer. Please enter the second number, 12. 10 plus 12 equals 22. And we seem to have forgot an end line over here, so in your code, when you run it, don't forget to use the output operator and line, which is always good. So we'll save this again. We'll run the next 2. So we'll go G++, boom, sudo, okay, 10, let's go 10 and 12. And we see that our value, 10 plus 12 equals 22. And that will, oh, I seem to have forgotten also that we need to end our program by saying return 0, semicolon. We'll save that again, and we will compile it again, and we will run it again. And the first number is 10, and the second number is 12. And we can see that we have completed this project of allowing the user to enter a number, and then enter another number, and then add those 2 numbers together here, and output the result. In the next section, I will show you how to do this in a more clean and easy manner.